Okay, guys. So I'm gonna start with Bitcoin here, looking back at previous weeks. So last week, this was previous Sunday. We were around here. We were looking at all of this liquidity that was being built up on this way down because people are basically shorting at every sort of pump. We saw on the heat maps, liquidation maps, that we have had a bunch of stacked up liquidity all above here. And after pushing down, tried to break that previous low back here. Did not manage to break it. You got a nice, that's your initial impulse move from the downside. A big, like 5 candles in a row, green candles, into some sort of bull flag formation, and then a nice breakout. I think that was into Christmas. Yeah, 24th. Basically taking out all of this liquidity that was being built up around this time. So we swept that. I have it marked out here on the dollar sign. So yeah, so we swept that. Had a consolidation at the highs. We had a one type of sort of ascending triangle that I was looking at for a breakout. Obviously, we can see that we came up. We basically wicked above, straight back in. Only swept liquidity, and then we just dumped from there, straight down. So that was 2 days we formed just a consolidation. Instead of building liquidity towards the upside that we did sweep here, we started also building liquidity towards the downside. People were long aggressively here. So you have a bunch of liquidity built up, and we come out and take them all out in basically 2 candles. Yeah, so that was a nice, it's more so a fake out towards the upside. Make people bullish, thinking you're gonna break out here and then keep going, but we did not. We just from the sideways accumulation and then straight down again, back into this sort of previous range that we have been in. Yeah, so obviously have your big impulse towards downside momentum. From momentum being bullish, quickly it returns bearish. You have your initial breakup structure up at this 98k, and then you have your larger breakup structure, of course, at this 97k mark. So you have a local downtrend that we are looking at. I did long Bitcoin, but that was after this initial move down. So I was looking at this as a sort of an ABC correction, so a 3-wave, where you have your ABC. I was looking for us to long scalp into these previous highs here to take out the liquidity. We can look at the heat maps. I'm going to use this model. 24-hour heat maps, you can see we have liquidity around 96. So that's slightly lower, but yeah, it's around there. So 96 is what I was looking at. I did long around here. It did hit our first take profit, but just came straight back down. Momentum is still bearish locally. We could be looking at this as a sort of like this was, we were looking at a bull flag. Could be looking at a sort of a falling wedge here, where you are looking at sort of some sort of squeeze for a potential break still towards the upside. You could be looking at a 5-wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you get an expansion towards the upside. So with this sort of push towards the downside, I was looking at this 886. Such an important fib for us right now. You can obviously read what I've written here. We can see that we did break out of this small downtrend. We have still not made a higher high, so it's still a downtrend, even if we did break out of this trend line. What we would like to see is some sort of consolidation, push up after that initial impulse move. That's where you can look for longs again. Sweep these previous highs, maybe even 97k highs, and bullish case you're looking at that 99, 100k highs. But if the case is that we do start coming down here, tap the 886, start hovering around the 886, you are more likely to come back and sweep likely to come back down and sweep these lows back at 92 and 92.5-ish. You could even look at it 5-wave, and this would be 1, 2, 3. So this would be a wave 3 all the way down, and you'd be looking for a push up and then an initial push down towards 89k. And that, I think, at least for now, would be our local bottom before we start pushing towards upside again. And this push could push us to 102, 103, 104k. I don't know where that would end, but that's if we tap the 886 and start hovering around that price. If we don't tap the 886 and we just start forming some sort of consolidation, we want consolidation. Consolidation is a sign of strength. So we're in a downtrend, you see consolidation, that's absorption. People are trying to short or push price down, but they're not able to. So you would like to see some sort of consolidation, maybe some bullish dips on the lower time frames, and then you get that initial impulse, break of structure, and then you get the push up. So if we look on the lower time frames, that's a bad short for that, but if we look on the lower time frames, we could see that we did have a bullish divergence back here, a small one on the 3 minute. Don't think we had one on the 5 minute. No, nothing on the 5 minute. So another thing we could be looking for here is, unless that we don't tap the 886, which is, let me check what price that was, 93.135. 93.135. So it's around 93k. So as long as we don't tap 93k, we could still be forming some sort of you could be making a low, lower high, another low, lower high, another low. Some sort of a 3-wave impulse towards the downside. But this is where you want to see bullish divergence form. You want to see lower lows on the price, but you want to start seeing higher lows on the RSI. You want to see some sort of higher lows here, lower lows on price, and that's when you can start looking for some sort of falling wedge. You can trade a breakout, or you could just wait for an impulse, push back, consolidation, and then continuation. Always multiple opportunities to trade this, but that's one of the things I would be looking at on the lower time frame. So then of course, if we do break down to the 886, which is 93k, you're looking for that consolidation, potential fake out towards the upside, and then a push towards the downside, and then you'll be looking for shorts instead. And these shorts could be off these 786 fibs as a sort of a resistance. Could of course play a slightly higher, where you see sort of a consolidation back here, you get that fake out manipulation move, and then you break towards the downside. And that's you will be looking for shorts, because you are more likely to sweep the lows. So that's the case. So that's the bearish case, of course. Bullish case, I explained already here. So if we look more in depth for next week, what's sort of come? I mean, we have New Year's, which is going to be interesting as well as January 1st. Usually we see either a very green day or a very red day. Has been the pattern for some time now, and usually it shows some sign of what the next rest of the month will be like. Of course, we can look back at previous price action and compare how it looks. I can go back to 2023. Yeah, of course, back here. So this is around January. Yeah, so we had a big sell-off into January last year. So you had this initial impulse towards upside first. First a fake out, then initial impulse. Could we possibly be front running this and doing something similar? Yeah, I think so. Where you do see this sort of power 3, you look for your accumulation, you get your manipulation, and then you get your distribution towards downside. This is something I am likely looking for now as well. As long as we don't tap the 886, that's an important point. As long as we don't tap the 886. Then I would be looking for the same here. I would be looking for accumulation, push up, manipulation, and then your push down. Sweep that these previous lows back in November around the 88, 89k, and I'd be looking for longs again. And this is where I think we sort of see at least a local bottom, if we do get this, for us to push back into our previous all-time highs. And this is also when you will see alts will see a massive run back here. Because it usually happens within the first big dump is when the alts start running. This would be from the highs to the lows around a 17% dump from Bitcoin. It's quite a bit more for most altcoins. Or is something to be aware of, something to look for. I do think our alts have been through the worst. Now we could see a initial fake out to the upside where people are like, oof, we're so back. Shit like that, you see a 20-30% move in a day. And they dump it straight back down again. Back to the lows, sweep the lows again, and then we actually get that push towards upside, which is the actual pump towards upside. So that's for Bitcoin, and then of course another way to look at this is tap the 886 and we start pushing down instead. We could use this as our manipulation, and then you'll be looking for distribution instead towards the upside. Another way to look at it. Yeah, so that's for that. We can have a look at Solana, because Solana is very interesting. So obviously I had this planned out on Solana. I did long it here 2 days ago, yesterday, something like that. 2 days ago, yeah. I did long back here too, so I've been adding because I'm in swing long. So I was looking at OS2 reject today actually. I have my first initial harmonic target right around here at 196, where you wanted to get that initial push down. I'm not sure if we'll actually get all the way down to 189, which was my target for our sort of inverse head and shoulders. I'm gonna hide some of the stuff because it's a bit clustered here. Yes, you will be looking for that inverse head and shoulders, where you have shoulder, head, shoulder, and then push towards the upside. I would be looking for us to fake out here. Push up to 220, 225, and that's where you start seeing some sort of absorption. Bulls are trying to push price up, but they're not able to, and that's where you start looking for shorts for that pushback. I do still think Solana comes back to 260, 264 around this area. I think we still come back, probably with this, and then see an aggressive move up. I want to compare this back to 2023 also, and I would be looking. So these dates are all around the same. So this is the last year. End of last year, you're looking at January 1st is around here, where you have this initial fake out, and then you get a pump pushback. I think we are front running slightly, so I think we're more in sort of this stage where you have very aggressive manipulation both up and down, push down, push up, push down, push up, very aggressive, difficult to trade, but I think this is where we're currently at. Bull case is of course if we have already formed this bottom and we just start breaking towards the upside and we just break through that 225, 230 area and we just get a big impulse, then it's of course not going to be in the shorts there. But yeah, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this fake out towards the upside, and then you get that aggressive sort of 3-wave push towards the downside. 1, 2, 3. And then you get your actual expansion move towards the upside, towards 300 and higher. You could also use this bars pattern to actually compare it. Yeah, so bull case is if we are here. If this is where we're currently at, then we would get the push small pullback, bull flag, and then keep pushing. Bear case, we are still in this crowded zone where you have all of this manipulation. Just try to shake people off, and then you get that push towards the downside, which you can see I'm suspecting we get it, and then you get that push towards the upside, and that would be to 300, like likely higher than that. So that's for Solana. Of course, you can see that it's showing a lot of strength. Like if Bitcoin is back to the lows, Solana dumped 1%. Bitcoin dumped all the way back to its previous lows. I think I have another chart for it too. Oh yeah, I forgot. On Bitcoin too, I do have some harmonics. So these are my initial harmonics on Bitcoin that could give us a pump from here. With your initial target at your D wave, which is around 97k. And that's going to be your sort of lower time frame harmonic, and then your larger harmonic would be push up towards this previous resistance. It's not really high anymore. Previous resistance at 99k, where I think we likely see some sort of manipulation before you're getting that initial push down again. And that pullback I suspect will be larger than if we do get from this sort of key target. Here you can just get a bull flag, and then you get that break towards upside for continuation. So that's another thing on Bitcoin. ETH, I'm gonna check first my other Solana charts. Yeah, so these were two short opportunities I would be looking for Solana. So you have your initial at 205. You can see that it was our previous high. We bounced off it here. You bounced off it here. So it's been a very respectable level. That could be your entry one, and your stop would still have to be around the 230. 231, and second entry would be harmonic target and your mid between 886 fib and 786 fib. These are higher time frame fibs, which would be 219, and stop about at 231. Another way to trade this would be if you have your initial stop first at 218. So if you're entry 1, you get stopped out of that, you have your entry 2, and you're still gonna take that trade. And if that goes to a win, obviously it's gonna pay for the loss of the initial trade. And that's also where I think we see that push down into this weekly sort of support. Also, you have your higher time frame golden pocket all around this 169, 163, potentially wick down to 159, and that's where you get that big impulse. And usually when we actually move, as we can see in previous history, that we move very quick. Like when you actually get that impulse, that's a 66% move. When you actually get that impulse, that's a 111% move. That's a 45% move. Yes, it's usually very quick. So that was for Solana. ETH. I'm gonna have to clean up a bit more here, but yeah, I was looking for the same here. I would be looking for a 5-way structure towards upside. I'm gonna remove some stuff. Where you have your wave 2 already floor at the 786, 72 sort of fib. Your key level here 2 weekly is going to be your 0.5, which obviously we haven't been able to. Can we look at this as a sort of a strong high in this sense? But if we do get that break up on Bitcoin that I'm suspecting, and we get that fake out, I suspect the exact same thing will happen for ETH. ETH might even push up all the way back to 4k, and then you get that push down, just to sweep these previous highs back here, and you have highs all the way back here that are very sweepable. You have a bunch of liquidity sitting above them. But yeah, so that's where I would be looking for shorts, and that would be above 3.8k. That's where the interesting shorts are for me on Ethereum. If we have a look at Bitcoin dominance, this is a very interesting chart. Obviously we can see from previous weeks we had this very big trend line that we came up to and we rejected. You saw initial rejection back here, and you get that push down. You made a lower high, lower low, lower low. Also made a lower high. Then you had on the lower time frames you had this rising wedge here into this head and shoulders that you can see. You have your shoulder, head, shoulder. And you did get that initial push down. I do think we go lower still. Just the initial target for this head and shoulder would be back to 57%, which would be a sweep of these previous lows. And that's where I would start looking for, at least for Bitcoin dominance to come down over the week. Expect some PA to be extremely manipulative right now because of the current sort of market we are in. It's a bunch of news. We have had Christmas, we had a weekend, now we have one market open day, and then we have New Year's before we actually have a proper sort of week of trading. So there's that. So I think we come lower, start looking for bounces here again. Depending how deep we get, I don't know. This could hold. We could also see a bunch quite a bit lower. If we look at some trend lines, I don't really see any of interest. Our sort of initial from this impulse low is going to be back here at 56%. Yeah, so these are the levels I would be looking for still getting that push towards upside. I still think we sweep these high. I do think Bitcoin dominance can do this, and then get that double top and then break down. This would, I suspect, be your pullback on alts, on Bitcoin, on everything after a fake out towards the upside for your actual alt run that everyone has been waiting for the last I don't know how long. If you guys have any requests, coin requests, send them in chat, or I think you can open your mic too and ask, or just tag me in chat. That also works. I'm just gonna start going through. Obviously, we can look at the heat map. You can see that our liquidity is above 96k, but we do have a solid amount of liquidity still towards the downside. If we look on the weekly time frame, that's also interesting. Weekly time frame liquidity map, yeah, we do have a bunch right around 93,235. Let's have a look at the chart. I'm gonna hide my harmonics because they are a bit much. Where was that? 92,235. Yeah, so that's a potential sweep target. I mean, we could sweep this week here. I would be looking for an SFP if we sweep this. SFP is a swing failure pattern. You look for a wick, you come down, wick it below, and then your candle closes above. Wick below, candle close above. It's a swing failure pattern. They tried to break down, but they were not able to, and you get that push towards the upside. Crypto bubble, if you can look here, we can see day. There's a few coins on the green. Most coins are slightly red today. Hourly, we are starting to see some green again here. We did have a green day to begin with, but most stuff pulled back with this impulse towards the downside on Bitcoin. Weekly, surprised to see how many green coins we got on alts. But yeah, some big movers. 16 virtual. Of course, we had BitGet's own token. Solana is even green on the week. Move, massive mover this week. So that's it for sort of heat maps and stuff. Let's have a look at Rose. I believe I recently looked at Rose. Oh, I didn't actually chart it. Let's just look at the daily here. Because I was looking at some streamers talking about this, where you have your initial push towards the downside. So that was August of 2024. And you have your sort of 1, 2, 3. Or your wave 1, 2, 3. It's an interesting one. Obviously, we can look at our lower time frame trend. You can see that we have broken out of our downtrend. What are we looking for here? Would be some sort of sideways movement, accumulation, potentially a retest of the trend line. That initial impulse surge upside. You can also see that we did break our previous high. So this is on the 6 hour. You have a 6 hour shift in the market. After creating a bunch of higher lows, showing strength. I did see that this was showing strength previously, but yeah, you have a trend line there. It's not a perfect one since we have only tapped it 2 times. A trend line is usually, most of the time when you're using a trend line, you want to see at least a minimum of 3 taps. I guess if you look at this 1, 2, 3 potentially, but this trend line is something I will be looking at still. As a confluence, yes, where you can use some fibs also, range low, range high. You are sitting right around that golden pocket. This is a bouncing zone. So even if you come back here a bit, possibly fake out a bit, I would still be looking for higher here. I would be looking for a continuation towards the upside. I think Rose looks good. I hold some Rose on my spot bags. I do. I think AI has been lacking still. Still think AI has a bit to catch up. If we were to get a larger pullback on Rose, it would be into the 786. You have right around the trend line. I don't think we tapped the 886, but 786 is where I will be looking, sweeping these previous lows. You also have these lows back here. And that's where I'd be looking for a deeper pullback, some sort of accumulation, well, sideways movement, and that impulse towards the upside, and that's still bullish in this case. You'll be looking for a push there. You could be looking at this as the double 1, 2. You could be looking at this as 1, 2, 3. There's a few ways to look at this sort of from the Elliott wave perspective. But it's obviously clear here that we can see it's no longer in a downtrend. You broke out of a large downtrend. You broke out of a lower time frame downtrend. You have your breakup structure. What are you looking for? You're looking for a higher low, some type of respect of sort of bullish scenarios, well, bullish structure. You have a golden pocket right now. You could be looking at. I do see this 4-hour inverse fair value gap right here. So you can see we had a bearish fair value gap imbalance. 4-hour imbalance here that we did reject once, and then we broke through it, and I will be looking at it as a support right now for a confluence bounce there. So if we look down into this 4-hour imbalance, I would be looking for potential long even reclaim that 618 and then get that push towards upside. If we just do some fib targets from the upside, like I can even use this 382 is usually a good momentum wave. So with what I mean with momentum wave is fib is that if you do see an aggressive reclaim of this fib, you can get a very quick retest, and then you get that sort of continuation pretty quickly. On a lower time frame, you get that straight up, and then into next resistance. That's where you see slowing down, potential comeback retest or breakdown. So that's usually that for the reclaim. It's usually very good for a sort of second leg up. So that's what I would be looking for on Rose. So if you're in a swing trade, your 382 is the initial target here at 0.1, and that would be a 24% move from here. I think that's very possible. If you do start breaking down, breaking these previous lows back here, breaking below this imbalance, you look at the 786, back into trend lines, you're looking from like 0.07 up to 0.075 for those. AI Tech, next one. Oh yeah, I long the AI Tech, I have it here, forgot. I mean, a long on AI Tech, I think it's in slight red right now. It's been pretty disappointing coin. You have your very big impulse towards upside here. You could be counting this as a highway structure, and then you have a very deep pullback from March of 2024, 86% pullback into August. Yeah, so you have just been in this sort of rising, expanding wedge or whatever you want to call it, and you can see that we are forming higher lows. I would be looking for us to actually form a higher low before coming back to this trend line, because we have already tapped this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So I suspect if we do come back here, we do likely break down, maybe even sweep these lows back in August before getting that push towards the upside. You could be looking at this as your manipulation move, your accumulation area, if you're bullish on the project overall. But what I would like to see is some strength from just this initial break. So you had this downtrend, you have your break, you're slowly accumulating here, sort of a falling wedge, and you want to see that volume come in so we can actually start seeing that push up. Likely back into these highs here where you're starting to struggle again before you get actually an impulse towards upside or a break towards the downside again. Yeah, so that's for AI Tech. If I were to count waves here, there isn't much to count because you don't really have a proper 5-way structure. I guess you could be looking at this as 1, 2, 3, and then you would be looking for 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. But this is an unconfirmed 2 still, so. And then at wave 2, you usually like to see bounce off the 618 up to the 786. Yes, you are holding the 786 right now, so that's showing some strength. That's good. You didn't tap the 86, which is also good. So yeah, so I would be looking for a sort of initial push here at this towards the upside. I know how big of a move that would be, 40%. But yeah, of course, it's weekend. We can get a fake out towards the downside, upside, wherever. Sunday. Just gonna play it off the whatever you get. If you get that break up, that's weekend long. You get that breakdown. You look for a lower to actually get that long. Just gonna play it by feel. CAS has been very disappointing to me. I did sell majority of my CAS. I bought here. I swing to trade it back up to this 71% move, and I sold basically 90% of it. I have 10% left. I'm free riding it, and it's down 33% from the highs. Has such a good narrative. Has been very weak. I don't like how it looks on the CAS BTC chart. Don't like it at all. If we look at the daily here, yeah, you're at basically all-time lows for CAS versus Bitcoin. Yeah, so I still agree with this tea I did previously. We need to see reclaim. You need to see that reclaim for this to actually start pushing and for CAS to actually start outperforming. If you get this on a reclaim of now, where you see this sort of falling structure and then you get the impulse of reclaim, these previous lows, we can look at back here, or if you get that push towards the downside, sweep all of these lows that you have created back here. So you have a low here, lows here, back here, So I don't think we get these big, not a similar move to what we did here, but you will get like a double bottom, bigger move, larger consolidation at the lows before getting that impulse touch upside. So my interest lays in a reclaim here, or a sweep of all of these lows before getting in on board again for a push touch upside again. I am likely just gonna swing trade it again. I'm not too in depth in that project, but if you get ready to get a bigger move, you could look at it as 2.5x as a sort of a target for that. Bull target would be 4x, and you'd be looking at this sort of trend line top, probably the 5x bull case. So that's where my interest is for CAS. But yeah, I want to see strength here. Need it. We do have a daily bullish divergences, so you have one daily back here, but you also have this larger one. So you made a lower low on price, higher low on the daily RSI. So that's very good. You have a 3-day bullish divergence. You might even have a weekly. Yeah, even a weekly bullish divergence right there. Yeah, so CAS is very interesting for me now. I'm gonna keep looking at it. I want to see some strength. Show me that inch of strength that we need, and then I'm back in. Because the next move for CAS, if these divergences play out, it's gonna be very impulsive. Likely see like a 20 to 40% in the span of a week or more. Yes, OGN was one of my recent lower cap bets. Remove that. So we have this cup and handle sort of. You could look at it as a kind of an inverse head and shoulders. Very weird shoulder back here then, but yeah. So you had this cup and handle. You are looking for this one to start forming some sort of a rounded bottom. Of course, you had this very quick move on the day we bought it, because you bought it like here, 0.11, and then you had a big candle up, 60% candle. I didn't actually sell it to this because this candle only happened in KuCoin, or Kraken I mean, so I could not actually sell into it because it didn't happen on all exchanges. Yes, I'm still just looking for this. You had of course a nice breakout here. You're looking for a reaccumulation, sideways movement, form this rounded bottom, breakout, and then continuation towards the upside. This is a spot swing for me, so I'm looking at a minimum of 2x. Second target is 3x, and our fourth target is around a 4 to 5x. So you have, all-time highs. You're looking all the way back at 1.4, 1.5, around the 10x from where we're currently at. So it's an old DeFi project on ETH. So DeFi to pick up again, this is very likely. I do like the price action of it, the technicals. I think it looks very nice. Do we have any other coin requests? I can look at memes too if you guys have any of those. If no more requests, then I'm done for today, I think. End the recording there.